All right, back with you on the Bronx Buzz. I am so happy because one of my longtime friends and colleagues in the Bronx is celebrating an anniversary, and we all want to. I should have brought champagne and popped the cork, but nonetheless, Hannah Leeshaw, who is the co-founder of the Bronx Filmmakers Collective, congrats to you and the collective. 10, yes.
10
How
years. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
very
Thank
good.
you so much for having me today.
Let's get back to the beginning. Well, I would say, when did it start? I'm guessing it was 2012. And what was the dream, and where are we at in fulfilling that dream?
So we started 10 years ago. We were born out of the Bronx Documentary Center. Mike Camber, who is the director there, was great and provided us with a free space to meet. And we've sort of grown organically over the last 10 years and sort of tried to figure out what our group should look like. And we've made some changes to it. And right now we are a good core group of filmmakers who live in and around the Bronx, who are active in independent narrative film and documentary film. And we meet to support each other and to provide education to each other.
How much of a hard sell was it when you got started? Like, my sense is, once you put up the shingle and said, "This is Bronx Filmmakers Collective," that knowing people of the Bronx, they came out of the woodwork and they said, "Well, of course, I've always wanted to. I'm going to do this. This is the society I want to be part of." Or was it like, "Well, we got to keep putting stuff out. We got to find people, et cetera, et cetera"?
It's a little bit of both. We did get a very strong reaction at first, but there were a lot of people who hadn't actually made any films yet, who were aspiring. And we sort of had to figure out how to work as a group with that kind of mix of experienced filmmakers and brand new people. And so we have struggled a bit getting the more experienced filmmakers to stick around. Unfortunately, the Bronx still has a bit of a reputation of the kind of places when you make it, you leave. And we're hoping that filmmakers that make it stick around and stay part of our group.
Do you have a sense, and I'm guessing, and I probably have interviewed some of them along the way, that filmmakers who might, or people who might have been interested in film, they kind of, well, that would be interesting, but they got inspired because they were part of a group, because they had contacts with other people who had equipment and technology, and they could find a director, and they knew where to begin to look for actors, that their careers and their craft improved as frankly, a direct result of the Bronx Filmmakers Collective?
Yes, I think that's true. I think we've taught a number of like beginner film classes, screenwriting and intro to film at BronxNet, actually, through BCA, Bronx Council on the Arts. And we have found new people that way and brought them in, and then watched them grow into more experienced filmmakers, which is very exciting.
And then you run a like a festival or something, and then what? Let's just say, okay, Gary finally got his film together. Belonged to the Filmmakers Collective, used some of the resources, some of the contacts, and now I've got, I don't know, a 12-minute film about something of interest. Then what happens? Do you help them get it out? Can you provide that? Do they work with colleagues?
Yes.
Where do they go? Where does Gary go at that point?
Well, you generally, our films, when our filmmakers finish them, go on the festival circuit. And so our group is helpful in terms of getting suggestions about which festivals are worthwhile, because each of these things costs money, and sort of figuring out a marketing plan. We as a group don't actually do the marketing, but we support the individual filmmakers who do. We also do coordinate and organize community screenings. So at different places around the borough. We've done some at the Bronx Museum, at Bronx Art Space, at community gardens, different locations where we screen our members' work to expose our members to the community, but also to bring independent film to the Bronx. Because as you know, we've got only 2 theaters in this whole borough, and they only show commercial stuff, no independent film. So this is
That's a mistake. I'm sorry. That's a mistake. That we can't. That. You know what? You're right.
We shouldn't. You mean it's a mistake? We shouldn't allow it? I agree.
No. It's a mistake. That's what it is. That can't. That's ridiculous. Because
161st Street and Co-op City. Those are the only 2 remaining theaters in the Bronx. And they show, like, very mainstream commercial.
Yes, of course. Well, and there's value to that. And of course, somebody's making money on that. But if you've got a multi-theater, one of those theaters once a week, right, could say, hey, we're going to work with Hannah and we're gonna and listen, that's the other thing I want to talk about. There are other film groups. I mean, there's the people that send people out to do films in 48 hours. There's all kinds of different film groups. Seems to me, get everybody together,
Yeah, that's a great idea. We do work Bronx 48, BX 48, which is the
right.
film race you were just talking about. We do work with them. Our members have been judges for them, and they're very supportive of us as well.
I have to tell you, I am still blown away. I always say that if it's a good show, if I learn something, I never put my arms around the fact that we only have 2 theaters left, and think of the richness. I remember as growing up as a kid, and you'd look at the list of theaters in every neighborhood.
Right.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Have the nature of the films changed in the 10 years? In other words, you were getting a certain kind of film then. I'm guessing the technology is better, so people can shoot film and do stuff a little better now. They can probably edit more easily in their homes as opposed to finding an editor or something like that. Or am I totally wrong and it's really the same content as it was 10
Well,
years?
I think there has been some improvement in terms of the quality of the work, and I think that's a combination of our education and our exposure to each other as our skills grow, and some of it is just cheaper access to materials. But I think the interesting thing about the work that's being created is that each artist really has their own individual vision, and we do see that repeated in all of their work. There's really a tone to people's work. So what's interesting to watch is that the tone stays the same, but the quality improves, and that's a fascinating trajectory over the last 10 years.
Wow, that is amazing. Do you have and by the way, and we're gonna promote it in a moment. There is a 10th anniversary celebration, which
There
is
is.
what we're gonna talk about that in a second. Do you have some favorite films or favorite types of films that have? I know you don't want to single anybody out. We all get that, but what came across your desk, so to speak, and had you say, wow, this is what we have created the Filmmakers Collective for.
You know, I would say that there isn't one film. I mean, I know that sounds like a
Somehow I
very
knew you were going to do that to me.
I think what it really is about watching the individual artists grow, because that's the sort of basis of our group. We really want it to be a work group where each individual filmmaker could improve their craft. And so to watch someone grow as an artist, and that's what's satisfying. It's not so much the individual film. We are a relatively small group right now. We're less than
Mhm.
20 people. We really do hope to expand. So if you're a filmmaker out there, please
Yes.
check out our website, because there's an application on there. We have minimal requirements to join, because we want to be as inclusive as possible, but we're always looking for new people.
But I'm going to expand that a little bit. So I have really good ideas. Maybe I have a camera. Maybe I've shot a little bit. I've done a little bit of editing. But and I'd like to make a film, but I need to find a director. I got to find actors, somebody who may know a little more about lighting than I do. All those resources are in there in all the people because they're all working on the same thing. So you can share stuff, right? Am I going there? So
Yes,
I'm
yes,
punching it.
that is what we do. We have weekly, I'm sorry, we have monthly sessions where we meet and give each other feedback on work and have
Right.
training and education sessions. But we have an email group where we are constantly exchanging information, sharing resources, asking for help in different areas. So it is a community that supports you whenever you need it.
Okay, so the big party, here I got it right here.
It's on
Is that
September 22nd
right?
on
448
149th
East
Street.
149th Street.
Correct.
Well, just remind me, which building is that?
That is one of the spaces that Destination Tomorrow, the Bronx LGBT.
Great, 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 great.
They were kind enough to let us have our party there, and so free tickets are available on our website. Registration is required, so please do go to the website to register for a ticket.
So, and that would be, frankly, aside from wanting to go and celebrate a very important Bronx organization, that would be a really good place for the aforementioned filmmaker that we just talked about, hypothetical filmmaker that we just talked about, to just go and be there and get a sense, meet Hannah. Hannah will introduce you to everybody around. And I know I've been to some of the showings at the Bronx Documentary Center, and the vibe is just excellent. It's just people happy to meet you, et cetera, et cetera. I believe the last time I went was before the pandemic, and we were still allowed to shake hands and hug people. And so
Yes.
that there was a lot of that going on. I do specifically recall that.
Yeah.
Just to kind of wrap this up, what would you ultimately like to see? Like when you come back here in 5 years, or for your 11th, or for your, I don't know, what would you say, as as kind of the co-founder of this organization? What would you say would be a really cool thing to have happen? I mean,
Well, we
an
did just have
Oscar award? I mean, I don't.
we just got our first space. We are now
Oh,
officially
yes, yes, yes. Talk about that.
in a space. So we're part of an artist collective space that BX Arts Factory opened on 153rd Street.
Yes,
So
yes.
we have
Okay.
one of the studios in there. There are other organizations like Bronx Bound Books that has a studio. There's other writers and fashion designers. It's a fantastic space. And then there are these public shared rooms where we can hold screenings and teach classes and things like that.
I got to get down there.
You
Maybe I'll
do.
go down there and
You
you'll
definitely
meet
do.
me down there.
So we're hopeful that this
Yes.
new space will sort of begin us on a new chapter of having a different kind of public engagement, because up until now we've had to ask for favors from people. Can we do something here? Can we do something there? Now we just have our own space where we can host events and activities. And so we really are hopeful that that is going to open the door for some things. It also is a great place for our members to hold auditions and rehearsals,
All of the
other
above.
kinds of production meetings. So we're really looking forward to supporting our members with this.
I am a very big believer in, having sat in this seat for many years, that we are so fragmented and so disjointed because of so many of the things that we have to overcome to get where we want to be, that when you put this kind of space together, there could be a relationship between Bronx Bound Books and a filmmaker, or all the other creative people working in a same space. I really got to get down there. We're gonna talk more about that. So
Yes.
you got that space, and you're gonna do the anniversary party. Anderson, let's just roll that up there again. So it's Thursday the 22nd, at 7 to 10 p.m., 448 East 149th Street on the third floor. Hannah, you're just doing great work, and
Thank you so
we
much.
just
Thank
want
you
you to
for
keep
having
doing
me.
it, because that's who we are in the Bronx. And if we're going to, that's all that other stuff. This is who we are. We got to be who we are. And so that will do it for the Bronx Buzz. We thank our buddy Joe Hirsch from the Mott Haven Herald and the Hunts Point Express for joining us earlier. Next week, fascinating show. It just turned out by coincidence. Both segments are going to be about food insecurity from different angles. So we're going to have a Grammy Award winning folk singer on the program as well. So that's the Bronx Buzz. We'll see you next week. Good night.